Hi, everyone. Welcome to the This Might Get Deep podcast. My name is Shay, or if you want to be fancy, Shay Lauren. This is my co-host. This is Mila. Say hi. Okay. She will not be getting the mic anymore. She wants to bite. So if you hear any weird noises in the background, just know it's her. It's not a ghost. She's probably doing something that's going to make me furious. So this is Mila. Anyways, welcome to the first episode. I'm going to be so transparent. I'm definitely, ow, stop. Okay, girl, you're released. Hold on. She's going to tear shit up and then try to jump up here. So I'm going to ignore her. I hope you just do the same, or you know what? You can hyper focus on her because she is cute, but she is a terror. Anyways, back to business. This is the first episode of This Might Get Deep. I decided to start this because I really have a passion about talking about life and giving advice. I've been told countless times, not to brag, that I do give really solid advice and really good advice. So I figured, why not turn this into a podcast? Because if I can help people through my TikTok videos of all things, then I can help people with a more long form term. Is it term? No, it's type. Oh, anyways, a long form type of content. And, obviously podcasts are on the rise. They're very popular, and I'm fortunate enough to have some good equipment to make this happen. But yeah, I just really want to be able to help people. And I feel like this podcast is a good way to do this. I certainly have a lot of life experience already at 21 years old I feel, talk about a lot of subjects, touchy subjects, and to give advice on things that people may not want to talk about, but need to hear. Hold on. Mila, stop. I'm sorry. She keeps distracting me. She has toys, but she doesn't like to play with them. And she likes my slippers. So, but yeah, it's called This Might Get Deep because, as the name says, this might get deep, and it probably will get deep. There will be, humor and shit, but this really is a podcast about diving deep into our emotions and our thoughts and our lives and getting better together as humans, as women, as men, and just improving our overall character and learning a bit about each other and ourselves. So I really hope you connect with this. I hope you connect with me somehow. And I look forward to where this is going to go. Sorry, guys. Mila has a cough. And every time she does it, it absolutely kills me because she also likes to try to eat rocks when I go on our walk. So I don't know which it is, but she's interesting. But yeah, we're gonna do this series regularly in my living room from the comfort of my couch, so we can be comfy together, whether you're doing work or you're just bored or anything. I don't know. This is gonna take place on my couch. So welcome to my apartment. It looks really weird because I did try to film this earlier and it was a really good episode, but I said the name wrong the entire time. So we're considering this a take 2, same topic. But maybe this time I'll be more eloquent with my thoughts and put together. So, this is where we're at. I'm filming with my ring light and what time is it? 7:15. No, stop. She's fine, guys. I swear. She's a baby. She needs to be punished. Punished? No. She needs to learn. Especially when it comes to expensive equipment. That's a no-go. Anyways, back on topic. I've said that way too many times already. It's been 5 minutes. Today we are going to be talking about the topic of relationships, I guess, as a whole, but also breakups, because your girl's going through one right now, and we are in the trenches, baby. Okay, we're not having a fun time. We're having a rough time, really. Actually, really rough. But I think it's best to talk about everything, talk about your thoughts and emotions, than keeping them bottled up, because that is simply not healthy and it's not going to be good for you in the long run. So you got to get everything out so you can really heal. I want to start off by saying that breakups are really like a grieving process. Okay. Some people think it's stupid to hear that or to say it. It's fine, to each their own, but it really is a grieving process. You had somebody that was in your life, an important part of your life, that you loved or you have affection for however long. And even if it's a short time period, you still grow a connection to somebody and you become, like I say, interlinked. You become connected. You become a unit. So losing that other half of you is really devastating and jarring and confusing. And, it's earth-shattering, I think, especially if you're in it for a longer time. So it can be really confusing is the good word. Difficult, confusing, weird to be in and to work through. I've had one really serious relationship, and it was this one. I don't want to say we because it was not mutual at all. He broke up with me 2 weeks ago over the phone because we were doing long distance, and it was one of those things that I didn't want to happen, but women's intuition, I felt something was off for about 2 weeks, and I would cry nearly every day just because of the anxiety, and I knew in my gut something was wrong, and I would say almost every day, or at least think, I'm like, he's going to break up with me. I know he's going to break up with me. And then he wouldn't do it, so I'd be like, okay, he's not going to do it, and go back and forth, But it happened. So there's a lesson from that. It's, ladies, listen to your gut, because shit's never wrong. But yeah, I felt it coming, so I feel like I kind of had acceptance early on. Not like full acceptance. Oh my goodness. Not full acceptance, but enough from the fact that I really knew it was coming. I just wanted to believe it wasn't going to happen. And it was just very strange because this past week was Valentine's Day. He was supposed to be here this week. We'd planned it for a long time. That was our thing. Like, he would come up here once a month. Yeah. Whenever he was able to because of work. And he would come stay with me for the week, with the exception of Thanksgiving and Christmas when I went down and saw him because school. That was the only time I could. And, there was that sort of guilt that ate at me our entire relationship that I couldn't go see him as often. And I felt like I wasn't able to put in as much effort. But, life, I literally couldn't. It's an 11-hour, not difference, but distance. And, it's tedious. It's not fun to make that drive. And I love him so much still for doing that. It's amazing. And I had no qualms with the relationship at all. Like, obviously I don't like distance. Wish it was shorter. And I think we really could have made it at least a lot farther. Maybe not forever, like I had hoped. But a lot farther if the distance was lesser. But, like I said, life. But it was a really great relationship. We met, like, almost all of my things. Wait, that's a lie. Don't listen to that. We met on TikTok, I believe. He had been seeing my stuff for a long time. He'd comment on a few of my videos, like, here and there. But he DM'd me, and things just kind of got rolling. I went home, I think about 2 weeks after I started talking to him, and for my birthday. So I spent that Friday with my parents, and then the next... Wait, was it Friday? I don't know. It was either Friday or Saturday. But whatever day I didn't spend with my parents... Oh my God, I can with her. But yeah, we went on a date that was... I don't know. It was really good. It was basically the only good date or single date ever that I've really been on. I've been on like 2, but I don't like to count them. But But it went really well. He, at the time, that was like an hour-ish, a little bit over, like hour 20 drive from his house to my house. So we made the drive there. We drove to like Fort Worth or something to go to a drive-in because I told him I'd always wanted to go to a drive-in. So he took me to a drive-in and it was really good. It was fun. And then he drove me back home that hour plus and then back to his house. So, that got me. That hooked me in. It was just like, what the fuck that somebody would do that for me? It was amazing. And I caught feelings for him then. And things were just so good from there. He treated me literally like a princess. And I have no regrets at all about that relationship. But yeah, he would come up here and see me once a month. We had really good chemistry, a really good connection. We still do have a really good connection. And I think chemistry as well. But yeah, it was just, he said the distance got to him and he wasn't as happy as he had been before, which sucked because, not to like punch you in the gut or punch me in the gut, but we'd said I love you in November and then last time he was here in January, he said he was in love with me, and I was going to say it back when he came up here, but I told him over the phone when he broke up with me. And he was, like I said, he was supposed to be here this week, so it was really rough. But yeah, he said the distance got to him, he wasn't as happy, and he didn't see a future anymore, and I'm not going to be the type of cruel-hearted person that is going to hate him for that when he did nothing else wrong. Like, he did everything right. And it was a really good relationship. And I can't make somebody stay if they don't want to stay. I can't make somebody stay if they're not happy. Like, that is not the sign of a good relationship or a good person. So who am I to do that, Like, I'm not God. I can't do that shit. So coming from that standpoint, the past 2 weeks have been really fucking rough. So rough. The first few days, because he did it on a Thursday night, so that was really fun. Would have preferred a Friday. But I barely got out of bed the next day. I cried literally all day. And I kept crying for about the next 5 days. And what I did was really unhealthy. I had no appetite. I had hunger, but I didn't have appetite. So I didn't eat, like, at all. I think I consumed maybe, like, 400 to 600 calories per day, which is very low. Not even a baby eats that much or eats that low. And I lost 10 pounds in 4 days. So don't do that. Take care of yourself. But I was in a very rough spot at that point because, we'd basically been together 6 months, and that's, half a year. But the entire time that I've lived in my apartment, I have been together with him in some capacity, and it was just routine. So I didn't have good night texts anymore, didn't have good morning texts. I didn't have somebody to talk to constantly throughout the day, or in the same ways, It's different. Like, you can still do that stuff, but it's different, and it's not the same, and it's really sad. But, I couldn't say I love you anymore, couldn't use the nicknames, and that's the stuff that really got to me. It's not the distance because we were already distant, but it's the break of routine, the change of routine, and it's so quick that I didn't have a chance to adapt. Okay, she just stepped on a hanger. I didn't have the chance to adapt, and given that it's been 2 weeks now, I have had the chance to adapt, especially considering I have a distraction. I have a dog. But still not a good experience, still not fun, obviously. It is a grieving process because you're grieving the normalcy of your life. You're grieving a person who has played such a pivotal role in it that is no longer there in the same capacity that they were, or the same role that they were, that made you hold them to such a high standard. And the shitty thing with this was I was in a very positive spot before I met him, and that just escalated throughout the relationship. I became more confident. I felt better about myself, you know. I was more happy, so my quality of life went up. But now that I don't have that, it's really rough. Obviously, my skin is breaking out. I have like some health things going on too, so I'm stressed because of school. So all of this on top of that is just not amazing. But I think it's really important when you're going through a breakup to have people that you can lean on and that you can count on. And for me, that was my family. And although me and Zeke did break up, I still talk to him. We still talk every day. Because I do love him as a person, and that's the one thing that I love about this breakup is, it's a love-hate relationship that I can't hold anything against him, and I can't talk shit about him because he is a really good person, and he didn't do anything wrong. I didn't do anything wrong. But I also hate that I can't talk shit about him because in a way, it makes things so much easier for our mind. You know, if we can go and trash talk this person that did us wrong and made us feel like crap, then it feels good to be able to kind of reciprocate that to other people. But I can't do that for him because he's an amazing person, and there's nothing but love for each other. So that's a rough part there. But I can't hold anything against him, you know, and I think there's a good and a bad side to breakups like that, like I just said. Because there isn't too much you can do about that to make yourself feel better other than trying to get used to being on your own again. And that brings me to another topic is being alone versus being lonely. Being alone is different than being or feeling lonely, okay? Hear me out. Being alone, I believe, is the practice of literally just being alone. There's nobody else in this apartment besides Mila. Okay, she's not even a person. So it's just me. Being alone is a physical thing. Being lonely is an emotional thing. Emotional, mental, whatever. It's that. It's not physical. So there is a difference between being by yourself and then feeling like you're alone. And that sounds kind of ridiculous when I say it that way, but I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. Like, I'm an only child. I've been single basically my entire life, okay? And I'll get into that in a second. But I'm fine being alone because I've been alone and I've lived alone my entire life. So I'm used to it and I like it. I like being solitary. But I don't like being lonely. I don't like feeling like I don't have somebody that I can rely on, that I can be affectionate with, that I can talk to. It's not fun at all. And that's why I really loved our relationship, because I finally had somebody that had loved me and was everything that I wanted in a relationship and in a man. So now that I have that expectation, it's hard to live down. And it's hard because it's like now that I had everything that I've ever wanted and it's taken away from me. So not only am I alone, but I'm also lonely. Because yes, I do have friends and I do have family, but it still feels like I'm lonely. And I honestly don't really have an answer for that one. I don't know why, but I think it just stems from being in a relationship. You can be content with being alone, but you should never have to feel lonely. Just because you don't have a man like that, girl, goodbye. I'm a little scared right now because Mila just went into my room, and usually when she does that, she's going to the bathroom on my rug. So let's hope that's not happening, but I'll wait on that till after this is done. So if it happens, I don't get mad, and you don't see me get mad. But I'm going to shift to talking about relationships because, sorry, I think I'm getting a sore throat, so I keep drinking water. But now that I talked about the positive relationship and a positive breakup, I want to give you a negative example. So every other relationship besides this one that I've had has been inherently negative. In some way, shape, or form, it's been inherently negative. And I'm not proud of that because some of it could have been prevented on my part, or most of it. But at the same time, it wasn't my fault. So we're going to go from 1, 2, 3. So first off, senior year, I had a little fling with this guy that I worked with, and it was interesting because I still talk to him, and he's like my little brother. But I think I just so badly wanted somebody to be interested in me because I didn't get that at all throughout middle school and throughout high school. So when somebody was finally interested in me, I kind of just jumped at the opportunity, and I was like, yeah, fuck yeah. And I thought he was cute. He was funny. He was sweet. So I was like, let's go for it. But he was not ready to commit. And I mean, he's younger, so it makes sense. But I've always had in my mind that I want a real relationship. I want love, and I want to be loved, and I want to love. So everything that I get into, I'm looking for something long term. And this was just, I laugh on it looking back on it now. But in the moment, it really tore me up because we were never official. It was like back and forth, like positive. Or it was like together, not together, together, not together. And it was just really weird. And I still have so much love for him. But I was going through these highs and these lows. And it was really confusing because at the same time, I was being mentally abused in softball. So it was not a good time mentally for me. And then we move on to, I think, 5 or 6 months later? Because that's from like May, around there, April, May, to, I believe, September of that same year. And I meet this guy at the gym. And turns out we went to high school together. I knew him. He didn't know me. But he came up to me, and he was interested, and one thing led to another. We ended up going on a date, and we started hanging out, like, every day. And we were in an actual relationship. I had to ask him what we were. He's like, I thought we were dating. Babe, what makes you say that? You never said that. Like, boyfriend, girlfriend. He's like, I thought you were just my girlfriend. I was like, you didn't ask. So how am I supposed to know that? If there's one thing people take from that, do not just believe that you're in a relationship. Have clarity, okay? Because that fucked with me too. I was like so confused, and I was anxious. I was like, what are we? Like, does he like me? Does he want to be in a relationship? Just do it. Like, be clear. And that's something I hate about this generation. Talking stages, I believe, bullshit. Like, yeah, I understand if it's like a few weeks, but 3 fucking months? That's a waste of time. Okay, you're going to know within the first few weeks if somebody is truly interested in you and interested in going the long run, being in a relationship. Okay, don't let it play on longer than that, please. But I say as I did the same thing. But learn from mistakes. That's why we're here. But it was good while it lasted. But then he broke up with me before class at our community college, our shared community college, in the parking lot before I was supposed to go into class. And then I ended up not going to class because I was devastated. Obviously, that's a theme here. I was so sad. I cried in my car for, I think, about an hour and a half, still in the college parking lot. And then I went to the gym where I later saw him. And I was like, okay, cool. So that messed with me for a little while. But then, that was fine. I ended up being fine after about a month or two. Fast forward to, and that ended in November, December. So fast forward to that next August. Okay. So what is that? That's like 9 months, 10 months, somewhere around there. I don't know. I was single for a good time, a good chunk of time. Okay. I was fine and content, perfectly content being by myself. I didn't feel lonely. I was confident in who I was. I was happy with my life. Like, I had no qualms. Obviously, I still wanted a relationship, but I wasn't actively searching for one, okay? Then comes August, I'm sitting in the study room in my dorm, and I get a DM from this guy on TikTok. Again, I get a DM from him. I don't really remember. I think all he said was, hey. And then the conversation kind of rolled from there. I end up going home like 2 weeks later for my birthday again. And we hang out. I will say in advance, this story is not fun. This was not a good relationship. It was horrible. And I'm still dealing with the mental repercussions of that. Okay? Mila. So, let this be a warning. If you do not get good vibes from a person, or you're not attracted to them initially, don't go with it. Okay? So, we are going to go, we plan to lift at like 11:30 that Saturday morning, right? I get there at the gym. I'm waiting on him forever, like an hour. And then he finally tells me, he's like, my car won't start. Like, my dad isn't letting me take his, blah, blah, blah. I end up going to pick him up because I was like, dude, I planned out for this. I told my mom what I was doing. Like, I came down here for this. So the fuck you think I'm not going to do this? Like, I was looking forward to it. Like, let's go. So I go and pick him up. He's really awkward for a good amount of time, like shy, awkward. And it's confusing because when you look at him, you don't think that. And I feel like if you wanted to, you could easily find this person, but I'm not going to give out his information because fuck him. Anyways, we get back to the gym and he's slowly coming out of his shell. He's slowly warming up to me. And then he starts randomly being affectionate, like putting his arm around me, hugging me, touching me, kissing my forehead, shit like that. And it was very confusing because he went from like 0 to 100 so fucking fast, which should have been a red flag, but it wasn't. And then I honestly don't remember if it was that same day or if it was the next time I came and saw him, but it was like the same thing anyways. We lifted and then we ended up going back to his house, which I did not plan about. I met his dad, literally not even a month of knowing this man. Met his dad, and one thing led to another. We end up going up to his room, and I feel like we all can imagine what happened, and the plot twist here is I didn't want it to happen. I was a virgin, and all I really remember, Mila, all I really remember is going up to his room. We were watching something, and he starts touching me. And I'm fine with it. I let it slide because, like, nothing that I haven't done before. And I was like, whatever, I'll go with the flow. And we make out, and then next thing I know, he's trying to stick it inside me. And I felt very violated, because we never talked about this. I don't know you. We haven't been out on a date. I don't really know anything about you personally, and you want to do this, like, so fast? So I don't think I felt gross about it in the moment, but I definitely feel gross about it now because I realized that that's all he really wanted. But I felt kind of used, and I do feel used still. But yeah, it happened. It was not good. It was not fun. It was painful. And to be frank, every single time was painful. Going forward from that, it was never good. It was fun for him, not for me. That's also another red flag, just so we're aware. Very big red flag. Okay, if your partner doesn't fucking care about you while you're being intimate, big sign you should book it out that door. Okay, I didn't because I was finally, I think I was like kind of brainwashed. I convinced myself that it was fine because somebody finally wanted me and I was happy, and somebody, you know, was finally being intimate with me, not just like physically, but emotionally, kind of. But I finally had somebody I enjoyed spending time with, you know, and I'm pretty sure I brainwashed that into my thought because, like I said, I was not attracted to him at all at first. I think I like kind of convinced myself that I was, but I wasn't. Still don't know what I saw in him. That's why I say I brainwashed myself, because girl, what the fuck was I doing? But yeah, it was not a good situation. I would see him. I would come home very often. A lot of weekends. I'd say like at least 2 weeks out of a month. 2 weekends out of a month. I'd come home just to see him. And it was fine at first, but it was obviously very sexual as well, which I did not like, because we just didn't have any chemistry. We didn't have a connection, so it wasn't fun. It didn't feel good, but I kept going, because I was like, he wants to be in a relationship. Like, we're gonna be in a relationship. No, girl, no, you weren't, and you didn't. But that was basically the routine. I would come home, try to spend as much time as possible with him, and he would kind of blow me off a lot. And that kept going for about 6 months. But it got progressively worse. Like, at first it was fun. Like, we talked all day. He was very sweet. We would call a lot, most nights for like a few hours, and it was really good. And then he started being dry and being, the progression, less communication. He would never call me. He wasn't as affectionate, and I would go home to see him, and he wouldn't see me, or he would like leave me on edge, like anxious for hours on end, just to say, yeah, you can come over. And like, it was a question. Like, it shouldn't be a question, but it was. And it was good for like the first 2 months, and then it gets to November, and like I said, he wasn't as interested, and I could tell, but I was still holding on to hope, and I was crying every single night, because all I wanted to do was call him, and he didn't want to call me. He'd be like, I'm busy, I'll let you know, and then it would never happen. Some nights I would go to sleep without him saying goodnight, and I'd wake up in the morning to a goodnight text. Like, that's like very minuscule, but still, it's important. But yeah, that was not fun. Then we get to he came to Thanksgiving. Then we get to Christmas break. At this point, I'm like depressed, and I'm still crying every single night, and I'm just anxious, and I'm not happy. We get to Christmas. I thought he was going to spend Christmas with me and my family. He didn't. He was like, I'll try, and then didn't. Obviously, he didn't want to. But then Christmas Day, we were supposed to go lift. I thought he was going to pick me up for once. Thought he was going to pick me up because he finally got a car. Did not. No. I thought he would at least tell me when he was leaving so we could meet there. No, I was watching his location. He did not tell me when he leaves. He didn't tell me that he was even going to the gym until he was about 10 minutes away. But like I said, I was watching his location, so I was like, what the fuck? I get there, and he's working out with his friend. He barely talks to me. So that was really fun. I asked him if I was going to get to see him later, because I wanted to see him, like, I haven't seen you in a while, and I've been home for 2 weeks? Nothing. Didn't see him once. And he's like, I'll let you know. I'll try. And I fucking believed him for some reason. He's like, yeah, I really want to spend time with you, blah, 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 blah. But that was the last time I saw him. And then about 2 weeks later, he broke up with me over Snapchat. I had to give that a moment of silence, because this adult broke up with me over fucking Snapchat. Not even a phone call. Snapchat. He would not call me after. I couldn't come by to see him and talk it out like adults, even though he lived 20 minutes away from me. But I wasn't going to be that insane person that shows up at your doorstep. Like, no, that's not who I am. Girl, can you go do that somewhere else? She's not going to stop, so sorry about the noise in the background. But I'm trying to keep her satiated, so. Distracted is a better word. But yeah, that was really fun. I was severely depressed until I want to say June. Not June. What comes before June? April? May? May. About May. And it was just really weird because after he ended things with me, he still kept in contact with me. And then I saw him again over spring break. And then after I came home for summer, I went to the gym and I saw him with another girl. And I screamed at him across the parking lot. And he looked at me and then he ignored me and he continued to like hurry this girl in the car and then drove away. And I'm not proud of that I screamed at him, but you know what? Fuck it. I was mad. He wasn't talking to me. He gave me no explanation. And I forgot to mention one thing that when he ended things with me, he told me, this doesn't have to be the end. Like, there's still hope. My life is so hectic right now and I need to work on it. And you know what? I believed him because he has a shitty home life, or he did. And I was like, you know what? Fine. Like, I'll give it to you because I do think that we have a connection. Girl, no, you didn't. I know now that I didn't, but I was so brainwashed in the moment and convinced that we did that I had blinders on, rose-colored glasses, if you want to say that. I had anything on restricting my vision of the future without him. So I felt really lost, but let me tell you the kicker to this story. I think it's funny as hell now because I don't know how I didn't see the signs in the moment. So I find out over the summer from my cousin that he has a girlfriend. And I was like, are you serious? Like the guy who told me he wasn't ready for a relationship makes sense. Yeah. Has a girlfriend and they're serious and they've said, I loved you. She's like, yeah, it looks like they've been together a long time. And I was like, what's a long time? Turns out this man whore was two-timing me basically the entire time. Didn't even have the decency to stop. I still don't know when they got together because once I found out, I looked at her profile and was like, yeah, fuck this. Like, I don't want anything to do with him anymore. But I found out they were together. He told me, because this is so much to unpack, okay? I saw him over spring break, like I said. I saw him twice. We hung out twice and went to the gym together. I kissed him multiple times. He kissed me in the parking lot twice. Even though he denies that this happened, we both know it happened, okay? Deny it all you want. It happened. I'm not insane. Why the fuck would I make something up like that? Like, no. So that happened over spring break. And then I found out, like I said, over summer that he had a girlfriend. That entire time. They were together, I believe, from November to whenever I found out in the summer. So that entire time, he had a girlfriend, like a serious girlfriend. Even when I was coming home to see him. And then he cheated on her with me over spring break. After Valentine's Day when they had already said, I love you. I have to let the silence sink for itself because just let that sink in. And I'm pretty sure they're still together. So I have to let you guys know that I did DM her after I found out over the summer because, like I said, I didn't know he had a girlfriend until then because we weren't talking, but he didn't tell me that. And I'd unfollowed him on everything by then, but I DM'd her and I said, hey girl, just so you know, he cheated on you with me at this time. I can send you pictures if you want proving that we were together. But I didn't know you existed. I didn't know you were in a relationship. He never mentioned anything about it to me. And then I also said, I know he's probably told you that I'm crazy because I got the same messages whenever we first started talking from other girls. But he was like, no, she's literally insane and told me the story. Don't know if it's true or made up. But he said, yeah, she's insane. Don't listen to her. Ignore it. Like, why would you believe that? Gaslighting 101. Okay. But I believed him instead. Big mistake on my part. But I told her the same thing. I'm like, I know he's probably told you that I'm crazy, but I got told the same thing, so I'm just letting you know, like, if you want to continue with this, so be it, but it's common courtesy that I let you know that your man cheated on you for a majority of your relationship. But she never responded. I don't know if she saw it, didn't care to look. But I do know that he does feel really shitty about everything, because we called over the summer and it was basically just me chewing his ass out for about 2 hours. I think two or three times. So that was really therapeutic. And then I like to say he followed me to my gym because I told him I was going to go there over the summer. And then turns out he started going there too. So, with his girlfriend too. And I know she definitely knew who I was, but she's probably like, it's the crazy bitch that screamed at us in the parking lot. But I screamed at him. So that's a whole other thing. But yeah, I berated him on the phone for multiple times. But I've also been told by multiple sources that he feels embarrassed to be seen by me. So that's a win. Stop. That's a big win. And I'll take that any day. He feels like shit about what he did to me. And, you know, as you should, because who the fuck does that, you psychopath? You psychopathic bitch. Oh my God. I think it's the steroids. Like, it has to be. Like, that's fucked with his head, you know? Has to be. Brain chemistry. Mila wants water so bad. So give me 2 seconds. Okay, I'm back. But yeah, so that happened. Fast forward, what is it? To this past August. Honestly, at that point, I was over it. I accepted it. I'm like, you know what? It's not my fault in the slightest. He's a shitty person. Like, whatever. I did my first competition. I gained so much self-respect and confidence and love for myself that I was in a really good place. And then I met Zeke in August, and that whole sort of like timeline kind of played out the same, which I think is really funny, but obviously very different situation, very positive experience, like nothing like that last thing. We have, I don't like to say had, because I think we still have, but we had very good chemistry and a very good connection, and we still do have both of those things, I believe. And even though it ended, I think it just goes to show that for every negative experience, there's going to be a positive experience. And this is the epitome of it, to go from something so incredibly toxic to something so fucking amazing that you don't believe that you're worth of. And even though in the moment it's really tough, this goes for any breakup. In the moment, when it ends, it's going to be horrible. You're going to be depressed, and you're going to be sad, and you're going to be going through all the emotions, because women, you know, typically we do, unless we're the ones that end it. Like, if you were happy, you're going through the same thing that I'm going through right now. Like, we have to deal with all of our emotions. You cannot keep them bottled in. Because like I said, it's a grief process. You have to be able to process your emotions and go through all the things that you're feeling to be able to come out on the other side a better person. Because if you bottle those emotions up, you're just going to keep living with them, and you're never going to heal from those emotional wounds. It's just the fact of the matter. So if you deal with things by crying, cry it out. That's what I did. That's what I do. Cry it out. Get everything out of your system as often as you can. Whenever you want to cry, cry. Like, if you need to leave the room and go to the bathroom, do it. Get it out of your system. Do not keep that shit in. Because I'm pretty sure it's like a scientific thing. Like, it fucks with your system. So if you need to cry, cry. If you need to scream, scream. Let yourself process all of those insane and negative emotions. Because if you keep it in, it's just going to get worse, and it's going to keep amplifying. It's going to eat away at you, and you're never going to be able to move on from that. Because even if you get in a relationship later on, you're going to hold that, and you're going to carry that with you, and that's not going to be good for you or your future partner. It's just not. But I feel like that's common sense. But if you needed to hear it, now you heard it. You need to be able to grieve before you can start moving on. And grieving is not a linear process. Nobody has the same timeline when it comes to grieving something like that. And like I said earlier, you might think it's a crazy thing for me to say grieving, but you really are grieving something. You're grieving the loss of something so drastic in your life, and you have to be able to go through all the emotions, to get to the end, to get to acceptance and feel good again. I've been doing better the past few days. Granted, this week was kind of rough because, Valentine's Day, he was supposed to be here, but all things considered, I've been doing better. And as time goes on, I do get better each day, and I get more self-sufficient, I think, and learn to rely on myself more. But it is a process, and it's not going to be a very fast one, even though I'd like it to be. But like I said, with every negative situation, there is a positive. You can learn something from every situation, good or bad. There's something can come from everything, okay? You can learn a lesson from a situation. You can take something away from it. You can take an experience and be happy that it happened. But, there's a lesson in literally everything. And although you don't want it to be a life lesson, it is one. And you can learn something from it. For me, I know what I want going forward. I know how I want somebody to treat me and how I want somebody to feel, because this was an amazing relationship, and I don't want anything less than that. And my standards have been raised so much more. But in just these negative situations, you have to remember that there's a light at the tunnel all the time. And I think that's a really good just saying for me. I have to remind myself of that a lot, but I've been saying it for years, and it's made me a more positive person, and it's helped me through some really tough shit. And every negative relationship that I've had, I've been able to find positives, but I've also been able to find a lesson, and I've been able to tell myself, I lived before them, so I can live after them. Except that when I'm living after them, I'm going to be a better person, and I'm going to have learned something about myself, and I'm going to have learned something about life, and I'm going to carry it with me, and it's going to change me forever, because every situation changes you as a person, as a woman, as a man. It really does. It changes you emotionally and physically, and you just become such a mature and more better person. I don't think that was a saying, more better. You become a better person. Girl, I've been doing too much today. Y'all. Like I said, I recorded this episode earlier. Did not work well because I was stupid as fuck and didn't get the name right. Amazing job on my part. And then I went and I studied for about 2-3 hours. So my brain is fried. But the good news is I didn't cry in this episode. I cried in the last one. So I also went into way more depth on that, but let's be real. Who truly cares about all the intimate details of situations? Not me. But yeah, I don't know. Breakups are hard. Breakups are so fucking hard. Nobody wants to go through a breakup, okay? But if there's one thing that you can learn from this, let it be that things are going to get better. Every situation. Things are going to get better. There's something positive waiting for you. When one door closes, the other one opens. That's the most cliche saying of all time, but I still think it's so true. You have to experience the bad things so the good things can come. And then you have to experience the good things so the great things can come. You just have to keep saying to yourself, things are going to get better. Things are going to get better for me, because they are. And the more that you say it, the more it is you're going to believe it. The more you say it, the more you're going to believe it, and then it's going to come to fruition. Okay? So, yes, allow yourself to be sad. But remember, something good comes from every bad experience. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, and you are going to get through it. I have to remind myself of that every single day. But I know now that I am worthy of having what I want. And hopefully someday somebody will come around and do that. But I also have to be patient. That's the one thing I'm working on. I definitely need to improve my patience. Which sucks, because I love love, and I love giving people my love. So it's rough to not have that anymore. But I have to just keep reminding myself that it's going to come again. My time will come. Yeah, I don't really know. It's weird ending things on good terms with people because you want to have something to be mad at, but you can't. Not really. But just remember that your emotions are valid and you can process things however you need to process them. Although I don't recommend going out and partying all the time, just because I don't think that's really positive for you. You can't really work through things in that environment, at least consistently. So take care of yourself. Do something that benefits you. Be active. I like to stay busy. Do things that stimulate. What's the chemical? Is it oxytocin? No, serotonin. My bad, guys. I don't know what that is. Do things that stimulate serotonin. Things that make you happy. Things you enjoy doing. Spend time with people who love you, who you love. And it's going to help you exponentially. Or you can be like me and you can get a dog. Which is like, honestly, I love her, but holy fuck. My life has changed. Very much. Such big change. But yeah. I keep repeating myself, so I think that's a sign that I should definitely stop. And my throat hurts too. But yeah, this was the first episode. I wanted to record another episode today, but I was going to do it tonight, but girl, what time is it? Fuck, it's 8. So I've been yapping for a nice minute, and I have to get up in the morning, so that's not going to happen. It'll happen again soon. We'll see when. But blah, 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 blah. Bitch, get on with it. Hello. But yeah, thank you. If you made it this far, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I really appreciate it. I'm hoping to go the distance with this podcast because if there's one thing I've learned, it's that you have to rely on yourself and you have to do things yourself if you want them done. So here we are. But I'll have more episodes coming out, hopefully weekly. And I hope, like I said, if you made it this far, that you resonated with some aspect of it and it helped you a little bit, at least know where to go in the future and to give you some peace. Because we all need that sometimes. Maybe you just wanted to listen to me talk, don't know why, but you know what? I'm not stopping you. I love to talk, so I have no issue talking for a long time, unless my throat's dry like it is now. But yeah, I don't know. It just means a lot. I just want to help people, give some advice, make lives easier. Lives easier, not lives. That's not correct at all. But I need a shower. Mila needs to get bathed because she's gross, and I need to eat. So, yeah. Thank you guys for taking the time out of your day to support me. And I hope you stay around because I am excited to grow and get better with you, all of you, and connect on a personal level. And I don't know, get better together. We're about to get deep. We are going to get deep together. That sounds so bad, and that's not how I meant it. But, you know, like I said, call back. This might get deep. Boom.